Hello Tarot people, good morning. Marcus Vasey here, and I have a card of the day which is the reversed Two of Cups. Check that out. So symbolism here is the two people exchanging, male and female exchanging cups there with the lion, the winged lion figure, and we have the twin serpents in the healing symbol there in between them. So there's a lot in this card. There's a lot going on here, and I'm just going to touch on a few of the stories here to help you understand hopefully some of the energetics. So this is a card of relationship, obviously, two people, the masculine and the feminine inside of us. It's the conscious and the subconscious part of us having an exchange, having a chat. It represents, you know, our partnership and with ourselves, as well as our relationship with the world and with other people. It's not just about intimate, loving relationships, but it is definitely always about the healing that can come through this inner exchange and outer exchange, as long as the inner exchange and outer exchange is honest and vulnerable and pure and even in nature. In other words, there's an even importance given to the feminine and the masculine, to what's going on the inside as well as what's going on the outside. This is super important. When this card is upside down, there's an overlooking to this healing nature in relationship. It's like we're looking for relationships for what we can get instead of maybe what we can give, and there's an imbalance between this giving and receiving story. It's not a balanced energetic, and so we may be just looking for, you know, as far as a relationship with somebody, and as I said, this can be a business partner as well as an intimate partner. But we're looking for maybe what we'll get from them or what they can give to us, or maybe we'll just look for our helpless habit of giving, and we just want to give in some way, so we're just looking for somebody to receive from us. And this is where the dynamic becomes unhealthy. If we don't have a really good inner communication, and that's part of the story here, that there's probably an inner traumas that we have when this card comes up upside down, which is why we avoid really connecting to our feelings, that cup that we're holding, those emotions that we have inside, and there's a trauma that blocks us from being very honest with ourselves and going inwards, and we kind of distrust our own feelings because they might have got us into trouble at one time, or they may, you know, there may be a bunch of guilt and shame and fear and self-doubt inside of us that we don't trust how we feel, and we're feeling insecure about ourselves. And so intimacy is very difficult from this place because we don't feel very safe. There's not a feeling of safety with ourselves. We might not be able to put very good boundaries on our life because we haven't connected with our feelings enough to know where the boundaries should really be. And so because there's this kind of repression and denial of our emotional body, we find intimacy a little bit tricky, and we might find that our relationships could be more superficial in nature and not as deep with our ability to open up on a vulnerable level. We're afraid of this intimacy. And you know, the lion here is this fiery, passionate energy that also rises, and the symbol and the healing symbol of the snakes and the serpents here intertwined around this central column is also the Kundalini energy which rises. You know, this asks us to raise our energy with this healing interaction between ourselves and other people, or between ourselves and ourselves. It's a healing energy. It's a raising of our consciousness by being able to transmute and transform all the lower addictions we have to lower passions and lower desires in a way. So, and this comes out a lot in relationships when we can get caught up in maybe more the sexual part of intimacy, or we can get addicted to the touchy-feely, more passionate, I love you, this is amazing type energetic, and forget that it's more about the healing and the intimacy and the vulnerability that we can actually share and the beauty that can come with that exchange. When this card is upside down, there's lack of inner communication there, and as I said before, and this lack of inner communication will also create a lack of outer communication. So we might not be having really great deep conversations with somebody or with the people around us that we're in relationship with, and the passion, as I said, is all directed into the wrong place, and so it might be fiery at one moment and unbalanced and angry at the next moment. You know, we might be frustrated and intolerant, and the equality of this card of giving and receiving when it's upright is kind of reversed here, and there's a feeling of inequality where one of the people in the partnership might feel that they're giving more than they're receiving, and they might feel resentful for this. There may be a nature of not feeling equal, yeah, and this comes from a lack of self-worth. So one or both partners may not feel very equal, and they may feel more in need of the other person than the other person needs them, and they will be maybe excessively clingy and holding on to. There's a codependency in this card, and there is a fear to find the real healing that relationship is all about. So this self-worth story that comes into and that causes us to listen a lot to our inner critic and our inner narcissistic nature, which actually creates this outer fear of intimacy, because we don't want to go inside and confront those inner voices that are very afraid, will actually attract the wrong people into our life. And so we'll attract partners and people that will mirror what we are afraid to see inside of ourselves. And so instead of having a great healing experience in a relationship, we'll get a dark mirror that will mirror back to us our shadow, and it will be a challenge and a trigger for us, and it will develop into some type of karmic relationship where we are being called and asked to clear out our past and our old stories, to understand the darkness that we have inside so that we can transcend, raise our vibration, experience our healing, and be able to sit with ourselves and be a little bit more honest with who we are. So that's a bunch about what this card means upside down. We can all relate to healing stories, and we can all relate to relationships being one of the most challenging and the most strong potential experiences for our deep inner healing. And it comes with the courage to be able to open up and to be able to share deeply on a vulnerable level and have this exchange. Interestingly, in the card, the woman's giving her cup with both hands, and the man is giving only with one and receiving with the other. And this is the energetic that the male has a tendency to give a lot and not receive. So the man is actually balanced in his receiving here. He's having one hand free to pick up and to receive from the woman, and the woman that in our society actually gives a lot more to the man a lot of the time, and that's the way it's unbalanced. But the feminine inside of us is the part of us that needs to give, and because the feminine naturally receives, and there is this importance and this imbalance in this energetic that is sometimes not recognized inside of us when the card's upside down. To be able to go into a relationship with the mutual intention for healing is probably, I believe, one of the fastest ways to find real love. And this exchange is a loving exchange. It doesn't have to be an intimate exchange, but it's a loving exchange this card talks about. And to be able to go into a loving exchange with healing as one of the most highest values and intentions behind it, this is what can create the most accelerated growth and the most accelerated transformations in your life. That's my experience and my sort of lover nature. This card is very much connected to the Lover's card. It has a similar relationship to it in the way it looks in the symbolism. There's no nakedness here, so it's not always about intimacy on that level. But it is always about an openness to share and to be vulnerable and to be having this equal exchange. All the best. Hope you have a fantastic day, and hope you find a clearer vision of what sharing your love is all about.